Number 5 in homestanding Michigan State, already with a victory over Western Michigan, taking on number 7 Oregon. The Ducks, of course, national runners-up a year ago. Glad to have you with us on Saturday night between two teams playing a non-conference game, risking a lot, but a lot to gain in terms of the national picture.
Thank you to Oregon and Michigan State for playing this home and home. It was a classic last year until Oregon pulled away at home. But it's huge for both teams. Both teams are top 7 in the country. And in college football, every week matters. Both teams think they can compete in their conferences. So what happens tonight, obviously, big ramifications for both these teams as they carry on throughout the year.
Michigan State's excellence has been built on an identity of defense. Yet it's their quarterback who got the most prolific offense in school history last year, who will be a focal point tonight, Connor Cook.
What a luxury having Connor Cook back for his 3rd year now as a starting quarterback. As you said, these last couple years have been magical for Mark D'Antonio, Michigan State, and he's been the engineer. The big win over Stanford in the Rose Bowl, last year against Baylor. His leadership is important tonight in this kind of game. Also, just his ability to recognize coverage, be able to look into the eyes of a very young Oregon secondary and try to be able to exploit them. He's got a great group of wide receivers. I think Connor Cook could be a big key in this football game if Michigan State ends up winning it.
Even on this big stage, Michigan State knows exactly what it's getting with Connor Cook. He's got a Big Ten championship on his resume. Oregon, on the other hand, Vernon Adams coming in here. This is why he transferred to Oregon, but this is his first experience on this kind of stage.
There are some people that say, okay, you play quarterback at Oregon, he's a Heisman candidate. And there are others that say, we don't know yet. Let's see him play. You notice he's wearing a glove. He has an injury on his index finger in his right hand. First time he's ever thrown while he's been in Eugene wearing a glove. So we'll keep a close eye on that. He's got a ton of ability, very athletic, a terrific group of wide receivers. You look behind me, you see a lot of speed. And if you're an Oregon fan, you'd say number 6, Charles Nelson. He's going to play tonight, and that's a difference maker that they add to the perimeter. Royce Freeman in the backfield. Let's just see if Vernon Adams can settle into this atmosphere. He's never been in this kind of setting despite all the games he's played at Eastern Washington. I'm excited to see how he runs this offense.
You know, it's a little bit different when they start chasing you and start trying to tackle you. You just see old Sparty, but during the pregame warm-ups, Vernon Adams appeared to be really loose. Helfrich and the Ducks going on the road. They'll get the ball first. Spartans won the toss, deferred to the second half. Underway, and Marshall will take a knee in the end zone. Ducks get it on the 25 as we say hello to Heather Cox.
Hello, Reese. Everyone has been worried about that hard hit that knocked Vernon Adams out of the game, but the big issue is that hurt finger that Kirk talked about. It's the knuckle on his index finger. It was splinted immediately after the game. He's had treatment all week. Now it's heavily taped under those gloves he's wearing for the first time, and in warm-ups he was throwing with velocity, but he was fiddling with that finger a lot. He was flexing it, shaking it, testing it. And before the game, Mark Helfrich told me Vernon took first rep snaps all week, and Vernon's injury will not change tonight's game plan, Reese.
And Heather, Vernon Adams had a terrific debut for Oregon against Eastern Washington. Threw for a couple of touchdowns, 246 yards in his first snap, and they'll give it to Freeman, and Royce Freeman gets knocked down a very short game.
I think it's important for Scott Frost as a play caller to just settle his offense and most especially his quarterback into this game. He's got a lot of weapons around him. He told me on the field before the game, I'm not really worried about his personality and how he react to this atmosphere.
Adams' first pass is complete. Got it out to Charles Nelson. Nelson, who didn't play last week, had a lower body injury, but that lower body appears to be quick.
And this is what Oregon will do tonight. They did it last year. Michigan State plays a lot of man, so sometimes you don't go to the outside receivers. You look for the quicker receivers on the inside.
Pickup of 19. Now back to the ground, and tough goal in the middle. Freeman's carried it a couple of times and maybe has 2 yards.
You know, that previous play to Charles Nelson, number one, it's great to see him back and healthy and contributing. He missed that first week of the season. But the plays come in fast. We'll talk about that throughout the game. But Charles Nelson at the H, Byron Marshall, with soft coverage, they'll get the ball out to them in a hurry, and they can make people miss.
This play might be a good one. It had Marcus Mariota's picture on the play card.
I like that.
Adams getting rushed, and he just tosses it out of bounds. 3rd and 9 coming for the Ducks, and this is where you have your best chance against Oregon if you can get them in long situations.
Right here, the defensive end does a great job of just sniffing that out, Reese. It was trying to get the ball out. Again, an easy throw, a little screen off to the right, picked up early there by Shalik Calhoun. That play never had a chance.
And to the point, Oregon deadly 3rd and short. Not quite as proficient on 3rd and long. Adams, nice grab out of the backfield, and Freeman will have the 1st down. So Oregon executes very well in good sticky hands from Royce Freeman.
You dump it off to your back, and now they're really going to go tempo. But he's got almost a convoy of 3 blockers in front of him. A big tight end in Bayless and 2 receivers did a good job with the perimeter blocking.
Pac-12 Offensive Freshman of the Year last year. He has it again. He's running through Spartans and driving inside the 40. A pickup of 7 or 8 on 1st down.
And Royce Freeman last year had a great freshman year. He looked stronger to me watching him last week, and it was only Eastern Washington. But as a sophomore, expect even bigger things from him in this offense.
Running back is Kenai Benoit. Nelson gets it out in the flat. He's got a couple of blockers. Nelson spins his way down close to the 20-yard line. Another good pickup for Charles Nelson, stopped by Darian Harris.
How much did they miss Charles Nelson? You know, to see him back. 3 catches on his opening drive for 42 yards. And I love the blocking out in front. A staple of this offense.
3 receivers top of the screen. They'll keep it on the ground. Freeman, big hole, burst inside the 10 and down inside the 5. 1st and goal coming for Oregon.
I've been saying it for years. In this offense, you get so caught up in the tempo, and they're throwing it out to the perimeter, to the left, to the right, and then you get lulled to sleep, and they rip up the middle with Freeman.
Michigan State was scrambling to get lined up. Vernon Adams keeps it. Picks up 2, maybe 3. It'll be 2nd and goal.
Mark D'Antonio told us they felt more comfortable this year with their substitution pattern. It's always important to substitute against the Oregon tempo. They felt last year in Eugene, it caught up to them in the 2nd half. And then against Baylor in their bowl game, they made adjustments, and they want to carry that over into their preparation for this game.
Freeman finds his way nicely into the end zone, and the Ducks are on the board.
So you got a new quarterback. You're on the road. You're Oregon, where the expectations are always high. You're in a hostile environment. You travel all the way across the country. And what does this rookie quarterback do? Opening drive, 13 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. 6-0, about to be 7-0 on the road.
Aiden Schneider's on for the extra point. I'm sorry. Did you think Vernon Adams was nervous?
He looked terrified to me.
Apparently not. Now, Oregon,
here we go.
Oregon does this a lot. They count the numbers.
All right, bring him in.
And now, okay, no advantage.
Yeah, I thought Vernon was. He showed some nerves.
Tight, didn't he?
Showed some nerves there.
Hey, look, you're talking about a guy who threw for more than 100 touchdowns and 10,000 yards. I know it was at the FCS level. But Adams has piloted this offense very well. And when you've got that guy 21, it doesn't hurt either.
How about the balance also? I talked about there being 13 plays, 7 of them on the ground, 6 through the air. They spread it around. They gave a lot of different looks and made it tough on Michigan State on that opening drive in command.
And now Connor Cook awaits his turn. 7-0 our score. Oregon took its opening drive with 75 yards. They didn't have one of those patented 2-minute drives that they typically put out. Nearly half of their touchdown drives last year came that quickly. This one a little under 4 minutes, but it was the height of efficiency. Vernon Adams converting twice on 3rd down, and Charles Nelson with 3 catches, 42 yards, all of them resulting in 1st down. So now Oregon will kick it off. Matt Wogan, the kickoff specialist for the Ducks. And deep into the end zone and being encouraged to stay put is R.J. Shelton. Connor Cook at quarterback for Michigan State. Spartans will keep it on the ground. Madre London racing into Duck territory, running over an Oregon defender. And that's a quick strike way to start. And the Spartans answer by immediately going into the red zone. Chris Cisse saved the touchdown.
Well, Dave Warner's got to be proud. You work all week to come up with your favorite plays. Look at this. I mean, Brian Allen, the left guard, had no one to block. That play opened up so well. The left guard had nobody to pick up. And I'll tell you, we want to know about London in the speed, that give you an idea right there. He hit that crease in a hurry and picked up huge yards.
He had 59 yards in the last game against Western Michigan. 62 on that carry. Worked well once. Go back to him, but this time the Ducks stop him for virtually no game. Kristen French with the stop.
You know, and as much as we talk about Connor Cook and the experience, at the end of the day, it's still Michigan State. And Michigan State is about an offensive line and running the football. They've had a great legacy here for a long time. But the problem is they've lost Jeremy Langford, and right now Mondre London kind of leads a committee of backs to be able to step up and fill the void. But they need to run the ball tonight against Oregon.
London taking a break, so they're sending freshman L.J. Scott in, 7th-ranked running back in the country, according to ESPN. Connor Cook, play fake to the end zone. You know who he's got. Josiah Price, touchdown Spartans.
He does a great job at the line of scrimmage of getting off of the defensive end, the outside linebacker who's trying to get his hand right there. He uses his hands to get around French, and then it's just a mismatch. He runs away from the defender, the corner, who's trying to stay with him, Tyree Robinson, and a perfectly thrown ball by the quarterback, Connor Cook. That's what we call an answer, right? That was pretty quick.
How about the role reversal here? Both teams go 75 yards for a score. The Ducks take 13 plays. Michigan State takes 3. Old Sparty's got it locked up at 7. Byron Marshall is chased back into the end zone, and this time he'll bring it out. Marshall looking for a little crease. Now he breaks it back, and he's got room. He's got room and some help on the outside. Marshall just couldn't quite turn the corner to take it to the house, but a terrific return by Byron Marshall.
And that's when you play Oregon, you have to be concerned not just with defending them on defense, but on special teams, because of guys like this. They get their football in their hands. A great block there by the big tight end, Evan Bayless. And then that's just athletic ability and vision. You can remember, he's a former running back, ran for over 1,000 yards 2 years ago, 1,000 yards receiving last year. He knows what to do with the football when it gets into his hands. And that time he found a crease to the backside, almost got to the corner, and took it all the way to the house.
To the ground, Royce Freeman picked up a little over.
This is where you got to get the ball out on the edge again and throw those quick passes to those receivers.
Adams instead taking a shot, getting his man out there, and it's intercepted. Fought away and stripped away by Monte Nicholson.
Everybody that plays against Michigan State in this press quarters coverage says you got to attack the inside coverage, man-to-man from the safeties. Nelson gets behind him, but the ball's underthrown. You can see he's lost at that point. He just happens to turn and just pull the ball away from Charles Nelson because the ball was not thrown in front. Great athletic play by Nicholson, but he caught a break by the football being underthrown.
Nicholson was the guy, Kirk, who said he wanted to reinstitute the no-fly zone of Darquez Denard and Trey Waynes. He lived up to it by making the pick. And a terrific play to set up Michigan State. Great field position at the Oregon 30. Now Connor Cook going to strike, fires it into traffic and too high and incomplete.
Reese, as the Spartans get the ball back, they'll do it without one of their top O-linemen. A lot of emotion on the trainer's table as Sally Noble, the head athletic trainer, told Cody Keeler he would not return to the game with a right knee injury. So one of the best O-lines loses a little depth tonight, Reese.
All right, Heather, and you could see the frustration from Keeler when he came off the field after suffering that injury. Machado's now in at right tackle for him. Cook gets it out to Shelton quickly. Shelton trying to make some moves, but too many white jerseys. Reggie Daniels was the first one there. Joe Walker helped him out. And here's a big opportunity for a stop for the Oregon defense after that turnover. 3rd down. Cook getting pressure. Underneath, McGarrett Kings slips away from one Duck, and Kings gets down close to the 1st down. Let's see where they mark it. It has been an action-packed first 15 minutes. The end of the first quarter here in East Lansing State, facing a 4th and 1 against Oregon. Locked up at 7. Reese Davis, Kirk Herbstreit, and Heather Cox, and no decision at all here. D'Antonio's going to go for it on 4th and 1. Pushing ahead. Connor Cook on the keeper, and he'll have the first down. Connor Cook, you saw that gaudy record, 24-3. He's tied for the most wins among starting quarterbacks, active starting quarterbacks. Kevin Hogan of Stanford also with 24 victories. Cook owns a victory over Hogan in the Rose Bowl, also a Big Ten championship as the freshman L.J. Scott looks for room. Connor Cook led the Big Ten in passing last year, throwing for more than 3,200 yards. He was second in touchdowns in the conference with 24. Wanted to emphasize footwork in the offseason. That record has been terrific. Not only the Rose Bowl victory in the Big Ten championship I mentioned, but a great comeback in the Cotton Bowl against Baylor, rallying the Spartans from 20 points down to beat the Bears by 1. And now trying to put Michigan State on top of Oregon. Second down and 8. Cook throwing over the middle. Got his man. First down and touchdown, Aaron Burbridge. If he got in before he went down, they signaled touchdown and gave it to him. Burbridge stretching. Touchdown.
Yeah, his knee never touched, and Reggie Daniels with a missed tackle there. He has a chance to stop him at about the 3 or 4 yard line, but his momentum and speed, he ran right through the tackle of Daniels and into the end zone. But great patience from Connor Cook that time to wait for his man to get into a position where he was clear in his passing lane. Put it right on the money. See right here, he waits for him to be clear. The linebackers blitz, so it opened up the middle. We talked about Burbridge, how he's got to be able to step up and become the guy without limping. He's starting to really, I think, get into a rhythm here early in this game. And the Spartans offense with their second touchdown.
By the offenses, particularly Michigan State's an early drive and taking advantage of a turnover with second touchdown pass of the night for Connor Cook. Oregon has already allowed 7 touchdown passes this season. Kickoff is going to go very short. Ball's loose. Somebody better jump on that thing. And the ball is still loose, and Michigan State had an opportunity to grab it. Vernon Adams right through the hands of Charles Nelson, and after an impressive drive early, Oregon's been slowed down lately.
That's what I would do. I think right now you see that first drive, they got the ball out on the edge a lot, and Charles Nelson had a lot of plays since then. They tried to do it, but I don't think enough. And you're starting to see Michigan State moving around, see the stemming and the moving, starting to create some confusion up front.
Going to try it again. This time Nelson sure-handed. Nelson's explosive. He has just about first down yardage. Monte Nicholson gave him a shove just as he got close to the marker, and they're going to spot it right on the chains, and they'll move him for a first down.
You know, those last 3 drives, I think if you go back and look at it, you'll see that Michigan State's defensive line really asserted themselves. And I think we said it last drive, the answer is getting the ball out to the edge to Nelson and others and let those receivers block and pick up quick yards. Then you can go back to the inside running game with Freeman.
Nelson now coming in motion. Royce Freeman, one man to beat. He slips inside him, and a sure tackle hanging on Viante Copeland. The freshman defensive back stops him after 17. There's Scott Frost.
And I think that's what Scott's looking at right now is how can we, because with this offense, even though they've been stopped 3 in a row, it's still, it's like a fuse. It can go any moment, and it's just a play or two that can spark it.
Adams pumps. Now flips it out on a little attachment play. Nelson has it again. He steps through a couple of Spartans and gets inside the 45. Another first down for the Ducks.
Remember when LaMichael James was in this offense, and even though he wasn't a receiver, but every time he touched the ball, you just kind of held your breath because they found little creases and little ways to be able to get him the football. That's what Nelson reminds me of. And the other receivers are all very talented, but he's got a different gear when the football's in his hands.
Adams to a wide open Braylon Addison. Addison spins away from a tackler. He's inside the 20 and dragged down finally, but it'll be 1st and 10 for the Ducks.
Soft coverage, and Oregon takes advantage of it. Look how soft his coverage is right here. Man-to-man coverage. And then you've got a great effort by Byron Marshall downfield picking up a block.
So just after we send the Ducks an unproductive series, they're right back to moving it, finding the big tight end, Evan Bayless, and Bayless rumbles down. He'll be marked out of bounds just about the 3-yard line. First and goal for the Ducks.
And another play. Michigan State, they even though it's dangerous, you need to tighten up coverage on the inside and on the outside receivers because you're making the throws too easy for Vern Adams on the outside.
Couple of tight ends now, Bayless and Johnny Munt. And a little size to block. Adams going to keep it on the run, trying to beat a couple of Spartans to the corner. Adams reaching and stretching, and he's going to be stopped just short. Jermaine Edmondson on the tackle.
He's different. He's not Marcus Mariota, but I love his toughness right here and his determination. He's not going to run away from you, but he's going to give you a little bit of a stiff arm, and then he's going to fight to try to get to that goal line. Great effort by 3.
Boy, that stretch almost got it in and put it right on the doorstep. I don't think he got a great spot as a result. And now they're calling a false start penalty.
False start. Offense number 83. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
The tight end moved when the left guard, Pearson, made a call. A lot of these offenses that go tempo and on the road, they'll look back and the guard kind of looks for the quarterback to say when he's ready, not the center. And when the guard, he must have yelled something, his own tight end twitched. And that was the call that they ended up making for the penalty.
Now they back him up 5, second down and goal. Adams pulls it down. He's got a crease, but a great tackle right at the goal line, and Vernon is stopped. Riley Bulla just sort of appeared from the crowd and almost jackknifed Vernon Adams.
Boy, how about Riley Bulla? You're right. That looked like that was a touchdown. It was a great call, executed perfectly. And 30, Bulla gets off of the blocker. He had to deal with an offensive lineman, the center Haggerty, gets off of him and makes the play.
Now Freeman tries to go over the top, and he is denied. It'll be 4th and goal. Vernon Adams wants to go quickly here to see if tempo can get him in. Freeman, boy, that was some good penetration. That was Joel Heath down to the bottom of that mess again for Michigan State.
And Riley Bulla again making a play to kind of clean it up. Last 2 plays, middle linebacker, active.
Boyce Freeman in the backfield with Adams. Vernon sending Marshall in motion. The give is to Freeman. Freeman pushing to the goal line. Michigan State thinks they stopped him, and they did. Riley Bulla, John Reschke, and Antonio's defense rises up in the shadow of their goalpost, and frustration for Helfrich.
And let's give Malik McDowell a lot of credit. Right, you'll see the push right here, number 4. And on 4th down and goal, that's what you want to see right there. Look at that. That is a 6'6", 275 defensive tackle pushing it into Freeman's face. And the play was so slow and developing because of the penetration by McDowell. Freeman did the best that he could to try to fight to get to the goal line. But McDowell and the linebackers cleaned it up. But the big fella deserves all the credit.
Man, he put Matt Haggerty on roller skates. Driven him to the other end of the field if he had time. What a play by McDowell, a guy they say that can take over and dominate games. And Michigan State has every tight end on the roster in the game and also a fullback. So it looks like they're going to try to blast it out of there. And you don't want to dance sideways too much down there and give up a couple to Rodney Prevost. Was there to knock down London before he could even get started. Now 3rd down. Both of these defenses have been able to answer the bell. Tremendous goal line stand by Michigan State, and after getting creased in the running game right out of the gate, Oregon's defense has played much better.
That time we saw McDowell make a play, and that time on 2nd down, another big defensive lineman, this time for Oregon. It was DeForest Buckner. He just blew up that play, and play never had really much of a chance at all.
3rd down, Cook needs 9. He also needs to get rid of it before he gets hit. He found his security blanket, Josiah Price, a man who has a touchdown tonight, and this guy just has a knack for getting open. He does again. 1st down, Spartans.
And they bring a late blitz from Rodney Hardrick right here, the middle linebacker, but the great protection, and as you said, he gets separation. And he's kind of a sneaky, fast tight end. Got size at 6'4", 252 pounds, but I just think it's a familiarity and a comfort level that he has, whether it's in the red zone or on 3rd down and 5 to 8. 82 almost always is in range when Connor Cook is looking for a guy to make a play.
Now a little breathing room. Connor Cook's pass is complete for Burbridge.
They saw the fullback get involved, Pendleton, and also that third tight end, Paul Lang, who brings the physicality as well. When 83 comes into the game, you know they're looking to pop people in the mouth.
And when 37's in the game, there's 83 to pop you in the mouth. 37's going to cut you. So you better be using your hands legally. It's completely legal. He's a devastating blocker. That time he takes on the block up high, and L.J. Scott runs through a defender and picks up a couple before Arian Springs gets him on the ground.
Well, this is a different mindset. This is what Oregon knew coming into this game, was they're going to get challenged up front. And they feel good about, even though Eric Armstead is off to the NFL, first rounder from last year's team, because of the way they've recruited and developed, they feel as a group they've got a very good defensive line. And they feel they have some good linebackers, but this was going to be a litmus test to find out really how far they've come up front.
Second down and 10 after the near miss for Michigan State. Cook, this time it is intercepted. He tempted fate a couple of times. That might have been a miscommunication, and it's picked off by Ugo Amadi. And Ugo Amadi, the freshman from Nashville, Tennessee, was sitting there waiting, and he hauls in the interception. So the first turnover of the night for Michigan State.
Well, they drop 8 in coverage, and they like to do that because they feel that it makes you have to really be patient as a quarterback, and it gives you tight windows. Receivers out here, he's going to work to the inside, and this is where the corner sits, and he's just going to drop back in coverage with his eyes on the quarterback, and it looked like Kings goes down to the inside, and he might have when he was breaking down his route, you know, if you're a yard or two short or a little bit longer, you're not on the same page with the quarterback. And these are guys that have played together for 3 or 4 years. You would think that would not happen. Here's the eyes of Connor Cook reading and looking into that defense. One thing that he really has worked on this year is not being greedy. If it's not there because they're dropping 8 in coverage, don't be afraid to check it down to a running back or a tight end. That time he throws it. Again, he and King's not on the same page, and the Ducks get the ball back, still with 1:48 and the time to maybe get some points.
You know, this is a real momentum swing with this turnover, because Oregon, which just had its second turnover, now they get it back. They've got excellent field position, and Adams has some time maybe to pull this thing even before halftime. Tunnel screen. Here's Byron Marshall. Haven't heard much from him tonight, and he doesn't get much. Maybe a yard. It'll be second down as we head toward the 92nd mark. Vernon Adams. He checks it down. Freeman's got the edge. Freeman knocks off one man inside the 35, gets out of bounds and stops the clock. First down for the Ducks, 1:10 to play in the half. They're pick up a 17.
They're in tempo right now, Reese, but a great job. This is what we want to see from Vernon Adams, is coming off of his receivers, his primary receiver, and instead of just pulling it down and running, he just finds his check down. That's an example of that. Just get it out to the back in open space and let Freeman do some work.
Adams dancing around, and he danced too long. Knocked down and sacked. Lawrence Thomas was the first guy there. Got some help from Craig Evans.
And keep in mind, they have all 3 timeouts. Its defensive line is having their way up front. I mean, that's just men against boys. Craig Evans is a backup. He's a freshman out of Wisconsin. He goes right through Haggerty, the center. Again, the transfer from Notre Dame.
They're taking a lot of time for a team that loves to go quick. Adams pump fakes, and down he goes again. Damon Knox, also a reserve on the defensive line, and this time after the Ducks let a lot of time get away on that last snap. Now they call their first time out of the half, and 36 seconds to play.
We're at that point in the game where these two quarterbacks and these two teams are kind of still just kind of trading blows back and forth.
So 36 seconds to go, a 3rd and 11. And don't forget, in this half, Michigan State had a 4th and goal stand at the 1-yard line. Oregon would already be even. Now they have 36 seconds to get something on the board.
Soft coverage on the inside receivers.
Adams bails out of there, throws it to the outside, incomplete, 4th and 11. To be perfectly clear, 30 seconds to play in the half. Fortunately for us and all of you, we've got a whole second half of this coming. Vernon Adams on 4th and 11, going to take a shot. Got a man out there. Byron Marshall was very well covered on the outside by Deontay Copeland. And Michigan State comes up with another 4th down stop. What'd you think of the play?
It's a low percentage throw, but you have a quarterback that's been on your campus for 4 weeks. You just don't want to have a disastrous play. Byron Marshall frustrated. They put 3 receivers to the bottom, and they kept Marshall isolated against a freshman, Copeland. And Copeland with him stride for stride. And I think Marshall's frustrated because he never really had a chance to make a play on the football.
Well, the Ducks are going to go to halftime. You would think Michigan State's going to run out the clock with only 7 points. The last 5 times they've gone to the half with 10 or fewer, they've lost. You know, Helfrich and I get along so well, too. He's going to stop letting me come to the games.
Exactly.
Entertaining first half. Michigan State with a 14-7
Coach, after the 2 interceptions that Vernon Adams threw, when he came over to the field onto the sideline, what was your message to him?
Well, just to recommunicate what happened. You know, the first one was a great throw or a good enough throw that, you know, the guy just took it away from our wideout and, you know, won that battle. And the second one, he's trying to make a play that's kind of not there. You know, he's resetting away from his ability to shift his weight. But, you know, we're not executing cleanly in any phase. Our defense is playing certainly well enough. Not good enough in special teams right now, but we'll clean that up.
Coach, do you think that injured index finger is affecting Vernon on those deep throws at all?
I don't, Heather. I don't. Yeah.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Top 10 matchup between Michigan State and Oregon. Reese Davis and Kirk Herbstreit here. Spartans with a 14-7 lead as we start the 3rd quarter. What's the biggest adjustment you expect to see in the second half?
Well, I think with Michigan State, I think they need to get back to still running the football. I mean, the first play of the game for them was a great run by London. Since then, it's been very quiet on the ground, and that's kind of who they are. It sets up the rest of their offense. And for Oregon, I think they got to get back to getting the ball out of their hands quickly from the quarterback Adams. When they got the ball out quicker and got the ball out to Nelson, I think that's where their offense was probably the most in rhythm.
Underway in the second half, and the Spartans will start on the 25. And Kirk, to your point, had 91 yards rushing in the first half at Michigan State, but 62 of them came on that carry for Madre London. And here comes Connor Cook, who threw a couple of touchdowns in the first half.
I think sometimes you've got a quarterback that can make throws and make reads, and you trust. And I think you want to put the game into his hands. But at the same time, you've got a big, strong offensive line that you would think there's an advantage up there. I know coming into the game, they felt that they could establish the line of scrimmage and get their running game started. And when they do, that really sets up the rest of their offense, and especially that play-action game.
First snap of the second half, Spartans will go to the ground, and the first snap of the second half not nearly as successful for Madre London as the first snap of the first when he went 62.
And give Oregon's front a lot of credit. They gave up that big play, but since then they've really settled down up front, and they play that 3-4 where the defensive linemen are basically trying to eat up those offensive linemen, the double teams, and just freeing up the linebackers Walker and Hardrick and the safeties to come down, and they've held up at the point of attack, which is hard to do against that physical, experienced offensive line of Michigan State.
No gain on the last carry, so Connor Cook looking at 2nd and 10. He fires it, looking for Josiah Price, and some really tight coverage from Arian Springs makes it 3rd and 10.
The fans thought it was a little bit too tight. He worked around the big tight end Price. He got there maybe a little bit early, but you know, the officials in that case, they're going to let them play. Both the receiver and the defensive back are in position to make a play on the ball, and they're both entitled to be able to get to the football. Just let that one go.
Keep the Hankies in the pocket. Shelton in motion now. Spartans need 10. Little stun up front. Michigan State picks it up well. Cook found a receiver, but not enough for the first down as McGarrett Kings made the grab, and Joe Walker knocked him down about a yard short.
But if they forced a punt here, Michigan State's probably going to punt, of course, in their own territory. That series was won on first down, 1st and 2nd down. You get Michigan State, as good as Connor Cook is, you get him to 3rd down and long, and he's got a new group of wide receivers, as we saw in the first half. They're still trying to work the kinks out here early in the year. They're not quite in rhythm the way we've seen him last year with Mumphrey and Lippett. So 1st and 2nd down, they hold up against that physical run game to give themselves a shot.
Well, Cook was under 50% completion percentage in the opener against Western Michigan. He's been better tonight, 12 of 17. Another good punt from Hartbarger. Braylon Addison looking for the edge. Addison's got some room, and he's got a blocker. Addison turning on the Jets inside the 30. High-stepping Addison into the end zone. Touchdown Ducks. 81 yards on the punt return. Monte Nicholson had a shot to get him and couldn't get him down.
Yep, that's exactly right. He makes the first guy at 9, Monte Nicholson, right there. Little move, and then the blocks that set it up. They set the wall up, and when you give the Oregon speed a chance to work in the open field, and then great effort right there by the outside linebacker, Prevo, to pick up a block.
Addison missed all of last season with a knee injury. He appears to be the picture of health.
You know, the kickoff returns he talked about last week, and now a punt return. Second week in a row, the special teams hurt him.
The kickoff returns against Michigan State last week. They had a 70-yarder that they allowed and a 100-yarder against Western Michigan. And now the 81-yard punt return for a touchdown. And the Ducks have made this their calling card. Their 33rd non-offensive touchdown since 2010. Nobody has had more. Extra point on the way. It is true. And not yet 2 minutes into the second half. And number 2 has made sure that we're all locked up. An electric 81-yard return and great blocking from Prevo and the athleticism to finish it 14-all in East Lansing.
Playing for the Ducks after missing, as you said, the entire year last year.
R.J. Shelton takes a knee as we check in with Heather.
Reese, that was exactly how Coach D'Antonio didn't want the second half to start. I talked to him out of the locker room about what happened last year at Oregon. They had the lead. They let it slide. He said, yes, we addressed it in the locker room. The key is focus. He finished by saying, anticipate the difficult by managing the easy. That was his message to the team. Now, as for how they created confusion against Oregon's offense in the first half, he said the key was not letting their tempo get to us. Really lining up well, adjusting well, and playing fast, not losing containment and communicating. That's what they want to continue to do here in the second half.
Well, Heather, we've got a brand new game all locked up at 14 after that punt return, and Oregon has done a terrific job against the Michigan State running game. Just pure effort from L.J. Scott made it a positive game, but only a yard or 2. On second down, Connor Cook goes back to the other side of the field, finds Kings again, another first down for the Spartans.
Yeah, that's where the experience comes into play if we get a view of this, but from the vantage point, you can see the defensive end, the outside linebacker, drop off, and so he comes back to his left. He wanted to throw the ball to the right. The outside linebacker took the throwing lane away, so he had to abort and come all the way back to his left. And instead of just giving up on the play, the recognition and awareness and understanding that he still had another receiver on the other side with soft coverage, he just flips it out there.
Connor Cook is not a highly recruited guy. He has developed into a terrific leader. Now with good protection and good time, and fires a strike and a good catch. Climbing the ladder is Aaron Burbridge.
That offensive line, known for their run blocking. Watch this pocket for Connor Cook. I mean, look at that. He is clean. Nobody gets close to him. And here's Burbridge again, this time going up in the air. He gets great separation. The ball a little bit late, but because he beat Spring so badly, plenty of time to go up and make a play on the football. Now, I'm sorry, Reese. Now you can go back to your bread and butter and run the power, run the physicality of that running game after you throw on the ball.
And here they come with a running game, but not much there. Boy, the Ducks not pleased with their overall defensive effort last week, but they've done a great job against the run.
They're building a fence with the 3 interior defensive linemen and the 2 outside linebackers, whether it's Coleman and Prevo on one side, and then you have French on the other. And then you have the 2 inside linebackers, Walker and Hardrick. They're just building a fence, and there's right now nowhere to go with the running game other than a couple plays. They're basically taking that part away and putting the game into the hands of the Michigan State passing game. See if Cook can deliver.
And Cook delivers to Burbridge again, a short gain just inside the 35. And there is defensive coordinator Don Pelham, who last week against Eastern Washington decided to go upstairs. He had spent some time down on the field last year after taking over for Nick Aliotti.
And he told us this week he was excited to come back and have a chance to play this Michigan State offense again. And by far one of the best dressed coordinators, not only in the Pac-12, but I would say in the entire country. And he came strong today. We had a shot at him. He brought his A game back to the Midwest.
Michigan State goes to a huddle. That might give us a chance to get that shot in. Connor Cook again well protected, but threw it behind and low Burbridge, so it's going to bring up a 4th down from the 34.
And when Connor Cook gets in trouble with all his experience, I want you to watch his feet. Watch his footwork. Right here, watch how you think he's going to step into the throw, and watch how he just kind of sits on his back foot. You can go ahead and roll this. See that? All that experience, and even a guy like Connor Cook, if you don't get your feet right, you're not going to throw the football very accurately.
So from the Oregon 34, little out of field goal range, D'Antonio's going to go for it on 4th and 6. Shelton in motion. Cook finds Burbridge, and Burbridge has it inside the 10. 1st down and 1st and goal for the Spartans.
A great read, and they slip behind the coverage. A well-designed play and perfectly timed. And Cook's trying to go tempo here to try to be in attack mode inside the 10.
They'll go to the ground. L.J. Scott. Scott looking for the corner. L.J. Scott, touchdown, Michigan State.
Michigan State definitely in attack mode. They regretted how conservative they got last year against Oregon as the game got away from them. This year they vowed not to do the same thing. And in a close game here in the second half, instead of being conservative, they got aggressive and decided to go for it there, and that's what set the touchdown up.
The 233-pound freshman rumbles to the corner. Now it's the Ducks' turn to answer. Now Oregon, whose last score came on an electrifying punt return, to see if they have anything in the kickoff return from Byron Marshall. Spartans have had trouble covering kicks and punts. Not so this time, as they stop Marshall just before he gets to the 30-yard line. Ducks go back to work. Keep it on the ground with Royce Freeman. Nice pickup on 1st down of 4.
I think the biggest difference I see from Oregon with Marcus Mariota and what we're seeing here in this football game is the threat of Mariota running the football. You know, they averaged 234 yards a game on the ground last year.
Back to the ground. It'll be 3rd down.
And it wasn't just Royce Freeman. It was the threat of Freeman going one way and Mariota going the other, because he could take it 80 on you. You don't have that big playability, and tonight they've only rushed for 50 yards. It puts a lot on the passing game.
Adams wanted to throw it this time, but he is caught, corralled, and knocked down before he gets to the 1st down marker. John Reschke leading the charge. Malik McDowell, who's had another good game, was in there.
And I think this is the area you're going to see him progress the most. And he's holding that hand. It's been dinged. That's the reason he's wearing that glove tonight. Let's see if Heather can get a look at that. That's something that's been bothering him. He decided to wear a glove tonight. See right away Mark Helfrich coming over to check on him.
Hurt his right index finger in the game last week. It's the first indication tonight that we've seen that it's bothering. Means calls for the fair catch, and he'll make it at about the 22.
The thing I was going to say is where you'll see him grow is he had a receiver open to the outside, and he came off him right away and put his head down and just kind of boarded. You can see the finger wrapped and definitely got dinged on that last play.
Vernon Adams, he already had the injured finger, Herbie, and you see him letting go of the ball there.
You see the contact right initially when the defender hit him, and the pain for him to let go of that football. He's lucky he landed on it.
Andre London gets the carry, and during the commercial break, Vernon Adams is over making sure he could grip the football. He threw a few passes. You see him talking with Jeff Locke, the veteran backup for Oregon. Vernon's had a little bit of an up and down night. He certainly has some good moments and also thrown a couple of interceptions.
When you're on campus for 4 weeks, you're talking to Jeff Locke, a guy that's been in this system for a few years, and anything he can give you as far as wisdom and knowledge is something you constantly want to be able to talk to. It's almost like talking to another coach.
Spartans go back to the ground. London slips through the initial tackle to Madre. London running tough and up close to the first down marker.
And they put the big tight end Paul Lang behind that offensive line, so you're running behind the offensive line. But let's give London a lot of credit because there wasn't a lot of room to run, and there hasn't been consistently tonight. But there's the leg drive. I think that's what has these coaches excited about him. Out of Fort Lauderdale, he's very strong. Doesn't necessarily have the breakaway speed, but his physicality, I think, fits in well with this offense and what they like to do.
Yeah, they have a history of guys who run tough. Le'Veon Bell's one that's here tonight. They've compared L.J. Scott to him. Prevost trying to turn the corner. Cook steps up, fires a dart on third down, and Michigan State moves the chains.
Now he comes back on third down and 10 where there's a lot of pressure. He gets pressure off the edge, but what is great is he steps up. He works into the pocket. See the edge? The pressure off the edge on both sides by Prevost and French. Steps up, makes a great throw.
He'll stay on the ground instead and pick up one or maybe two from London. And some unpleasantries at the end between Jamal Lyles and Tyree Robinson.
They have been wearing down Oregon, or at least attempting to do that. Remember, they didn't run the ball that well in the first half. We talked about coming out of the break at halftime. They had the one long run, but other than that, pretty much controlled by Oregon. But they went back to the chalkboard at halftime and probably looked at their numbers and said, guys, we've got a great line and some physical backs. We can't quite give up on being that pounding team.
They run it again. London inside the 40. It's another first down for Michigan State. Starting to see signs of fatigue in the Ducks.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the challenge. Watch the center here. Jack Allen, 66. A great block to open that up right into the middle of the Oregon defense. He works, not only pushes Balducci back, but also is able to climb up to a linebacker and chip up on him as well.
Well, Michigan State with a 7-point lead, headed down toward the 3.5-minute mark to play here in the third quarter. Reese Davis, Kirk Herbstreit, and Heather Cox with you on a beautiful night in East Lansing. Cook down the middle. He's got his tight end Jamal Lyles for the catch, and Michigan State is threatening.
This is great timing and rhythm by the quarterback Cook with his tight end right here. He's going to sneak behind. And when you throw this, you got to get it over this linebacker right here, Rodney Hardrick. And he's up out of the way, so then it's the other linebacker who slides back, Joe Walker. But he does a good job of throwing that with enough velocity where he gets it over the linebacker, but in front of the safeties. There's a nice little pocket there, and he put it right in there.
Cook 20 of 28, 192 yards. He's thrown for a couple of scores. Michigan State at the 19-yard line, just in the red zone. Back to the ground. London picks up a couple, maybe three. Elfridge exhorting his defense.
Did you see that? I mean, he lines up and he's about to snap the ball, and then he says, we're going to move over here. Then instead of taking the snap from his center, Jack Allen, he takes it from his brother, the left guard, Brian Allen. That was a little bit crazy.
A little bit tricky, a different way to go unbalanced,
yeah,
right?
It sure is.
And now they go again. They shift it again, and it gives them a lot of beef on the right side.
The tackle over on the right.
But they run it that way. Tried to cut it back, didn't work. Oregon was ready for it.
Getting a little bit cute there.
Christian French was the first guy. What do you think of this?
You know, it's a wrinkle. It gives the defense a little bit of a different look, but clearly it was not as effective there. It makes the offense, basically your left guard becomes your center, your left tackle becomes your left guard, and your tight end becomes your tackle on your left. And what happened there was the speed and the penetration from Oregon. They were not fooled at all by the numbers game. It's basically a tackle over where you get the strong side to the right, but they got in there pretty quickly.
So the result of all of that is that Connor Cook has to try to convert a 3rd and 10. Steps up in the pocket, floats in, and deflected, and then almost caught. Tyree Robinson deflected it. Josiah Price almost grabbed it, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, he put a little touch on this, and he's really fortunate. Who do we talk about who he locks in into the red zone? This is his guy. Look at that. Remember, Tyree Robinson is 6'4". Price is his guy, but he puts a little touch on that, and Robinson nearly came down with a big interception.
Well, the last time that Michael Geiger had a field goal attempt, it was not pretty. A 28-yarder he missed. This one from 36. Ball is on the way. And this time it is true, and Michigan State has pushed its lead to double figures. Short kickoff, rolls around on the ground, and Bayless jumps on it just across the 20. Heather, what have you been able to find out on the sideline?
Well, Reese, during that entire series, Vernon Adams stayed by himself and was constantly testing that finger, flexing it, putting it into a fist, really never took the glove off, but really testing the mobility. And guys, what I find is interesting is I talked to our quarterback guru, George Whitfield, who said that you lose about 25% of your accuracy and velocity when you can't use that index finger because it's the last finger on the ball to release. Now, Kirk, I'm curious, do you agree with that? You played quarterback. What do you think about how much you lose with that hurt finger?
Tell George, I think it's about 28%. He's off on his calculations there completely.
Adams out to Braylon Addison completely.
Heather, he's right. I mean, it is the last finger. It's kind of the rudder. It's going to allow you to direct the football and give it the spin. And if it's hurting, now the thing that's interesting to me is his teammates don't really know him. They've never really been in war with him. Now they're starting to learn a lot more about him.
Freeman carries it across the 30.
Not just, okay, the XOs. Forget about that. This is the quarterback replacing Marcus Mariota. You need to show that you're a leader in this kind of setting, and that's what they're learning about him.
They desperately need a 1st down here, and they got it. Prior to this drive or series of downs, Oregon and its offense have been on the field only a little over a minute and a half in the 3rd quarter. Now, part of that was because they had an 81-yard punt return. They didn't need their offense on the field for that possession, but now they do. Down 10. So Helfrich's team finds themselves down by double digits. We'll see if they get one more snap off here in the 3rd quarter, and they do not. And we'll head to the 4th. Number 5 trying to hold on to a 10-point lead. That's the end of the 3rd quarter here in East Lansing. Michigan State up 24-14. Hasn't been exactly what we expected. Maybe a little more offense. We see the Ducks have lost their last 20 when entering the 4th quarter, trailing by 10 or more last time they won. 2004 against Wazoo. See if Vernon Adams can rally him. Good start to the 4th quarter for the Ducks as Royce Freeman gets out across the 45.
Picked up a nice seal block, and Royce Freeman hasn't had a ton of room to work with. And I go back, we talked about it heading into the end of that 3rd quarter. Without a true threat at that quarterback position as far as running the football, boy, it's going to put a lot on Royce Freeman this year in the running game.
Now Adams off play action down the middle. Braylon Addison makes the grab, and Addison's inside the 35, and Addison has taken it upon himself here in this 2nd half for the Ducks.
And those linebackers from Michigan State, when they field play action, they're coming downhill, and it opens up a nice vacancy behind them, and that ball was thrown a little wobbly, but he got it in there.
Give to Freeman. Nothing doing. 2nd and long coming.
You go back over what do you think, the last 7 years? You go back to Masoli and Dennis Dixon and Darren Thomas and, of course, Marcus Mariota. All those guys, one thing they all have in common was, as a defensive coordinator, you were aware of their creativity. You were aware of their ability to hurt you with their feet. And so it opened up a lot of different aspects of your entire running game.
Adams out in the flat, too high for Addison, who wisely chased it just in case they called it a backward pass. 3rd down coming.
And almost every defensive coordinator I've ever talked to about defending Oregon's offense, they all talk about that aspect aspect is kind of the wild card. You know, you deal with the tempo, you deal with the spread, you deal with, they're going to stretch you out horizontally. The one thing they always talk about, and then you got to deal with the quarterback and his running. I just don't sense the same playmaking ability from Vern Adams as far as a running quarterback and a threat in that area.
On 3rd and long, they flip it out to Freeman in the flat, and he tries to navigate his way through a host of green, and he can't do it. He gets down to the 30. That's about 7 yards short of what they need for the first down.
That's Scott Frost and Mark Helfrich saying, let's pick up 7 or 8, maybe 9, and then let's give it a shot here on 4th down. You're down 10, you get into the 4th quarter, you're on the road. They're not trying to pick up the first down there. They're just trying to make this 4th down as manageable as possible. Remember, the quick pass has been his best throw.
In addition to the Duck streak, Adams has thrown multiple TDs in 27 straight games in his career here in Eastern Washington. Doesn't need a touchdown, just a first down on this one. Adams firing out for Addison, and it is a strike incomplete and a first down. A terrific throw from Vernon Adams.
Now that is an absolutely gutsy throw by Adams on 4th down. He gets it right over the corner that time. Hicks and in front of the safety. What a throw.
I beg your pardon, that was 9, not 2. That was Marshall who made the grab. At any rate, a huge play for the Ducks. Freeman noses down to the 2.
Remember, they got down in this area earlier in the game, and they struggled with what to go with. You know, with a play calling standpoint, you're thinking about Freeman's the guy to go with because of his power, but Michigan State held up very firm earlier in the game with a goal line stand.
Well, how big does that look about now? Adams going to keep it himself. Vernon Adams into the end zone. Touchdown, Oregon.
Good call. They follow the left guard, Matt Pearson, and the running back, Royce Freeman, and this time they come up with the touchdown.
And Herbie, you said that the Ducks would learn a lot about who their leader is. The 4th down strike to keep the drive alive to Byron Marshall, putting it beautifully between a couple of Spartan defenders and then running it in. They're finding out he's got some guts.
I mean, right in front of them, they're learning about, hey man, what do you think about 3? What do you think about Vernon? Like right now, they're down there saying they're impressed. They're learning a lot about this guy. Again, cannot say it enough. He's been on the campus in Eugene, Oregon for 4 weeks. Imagine trying to digest this tempo offense in 4 weeks, and then you go on the road to East Lansing and play this defense. He's kept his team within striking distance.
L.J. Scott returning the kickoff. Scott still on his feet, shedding tacklers and getting up to the 35. Well, jet sweep. R.J. Shelton. Shelton turning the corner. He's got tremendous speed. Dances out of bounds, gets in Oregon territory. I think they're going to mark him out at the 47, pickup of 18.
One of the first times tonight Oregon's got outflanked on the jet sweep. He cuts underneath. They actually didn't get outflanked. He actually just cut underneath Prevo and then picked up a nice seal block. But Prevo, who's had a pretty good football game tonight, he was in great position, but the quickness of Shelton, he gave him a little shake and got underneath him. And then he had a lot of room to work with.
Michigan State very quickly answers the touchdown by moving into Duck territory. On the ground, L.J. Scott. L.J. Scott gets close to first down yardage. Mark Scott just short of the first down on the last carry. He gets it this time and runs through another one. Scott inside the 20. Scott on his way. Will they get there? Touchdown, Michigan State. Steamrolling his way through the Oregon defense. 3 plays, 65 yards. Took less than a minute and a half. And just like that, Michigan State is back on top by 10.
Now, you talked about him tonight, 235 pounds and runs very physical. Just a raw, true freshman out of Hubbard, Ohio. He bounces his back. Great vision to recognize it. Breaks through 2 arm tackles. And this is the thing that's impressive. That's a corner chasing him down. And he gets into the end zone.
And now the lead is 10 again. 10:51 to play. And now it's Oregon's turn. Fumble on the kickoff. Marshall picks it up. Tries to find a little running room and is able to make a little bit of chicken salad after bobbling that kickoff. And Royce Freeman is back in now for the Ducks at running back. Nelson in motion. Adams buying a little time and firing complete. It's Addison. Addison headed to Michigan State territory, and he's knocked down right at the 50-yard line.
And it gets, not only are they, it's not that they're not out of the game, it's because of the Michigan State defensive scheme. There's so much man-to-man. You make a completion and you shake one guy, there's room to run.
Adams, a lot of time, thought about taking a shot, pulls it down, gets what he can, gets about 5, and there's a flag that flew deep in the secondary.
Holding defense against an eligible receiver.
Yeah, that's
10 yards from the previous
I wasn't
spot.
saying, I guess, pass interference, but I guess, secondary, you get a little bit of a hold here. And if we have a tight look at this, I'll be shocked.
I was just messing with you anyway. I was just joking.
Oh, no, it's all good, man. Yeah, no, I was so, I was just glued to that. I just happened to be watching that one-on-one matchup, and I was shocked that all of a sudden I saw a flag come out. I didn't see any contact at all.
That was Michigan State's first penalty. And as the officials still confirm, you can have a look.
Inside to your left here. Maybe a little contact there. The flag's not out, though. It came out right there at the end. I don't know.
That's not much.
It's not much at all. But the Ducks will take it.
Yes, they will. First time tonight a penalty has gone against the Spartans. Ducks perhaps thinking about time. Adams fires to Nelson, who took a shot. Demetrius Cox laying the lumber.
It's a great job by Cox, who gave a cushion there. But how many times have we seen the ball thrown to Nelson and get with that soft cushion? Anticipated it and lowered the boom.
Adams getting heat, dances away from it, now throwing, complete, slipping a tackle is Addison. Addison knocked down inside the 15-yard line. Yet another big play from Braylon Addison.
Well, there's the creativity from Vernon Adams. You know, this is almost backyard football. The play breaks down. He's just scrambling out to his right, trying to find an open man. Back
to the ground. Freeman spinning. Stopped at the 11.
Good to see Royce Freeman back in the lineup. It's a guy that they can turn to, who's been in these kind of games, played in a national championship, played against Florida State.
And this is the type of patience Helfrich can live with. 5 minutes. Tunnel for Addison, shaking guy. Addison pushed out of bounds by Demetrius Cox, and the Ducks are threatening.
I love how he came to the football here. A little bit of a risk here by R.J. Williamson coming up and trying to make the play. Instead of sitting back, he comes to the ball. And by coming to the football, it gave him an angle to come back to the outside.
Adams, good protection.
You better run here.
Buying a little time. Still looking. Now firing it into traffic. That is not smart. And it pinballed around for a while before it finally hit the ground. Riley Buller was the first guy to get a hand on it, the Michigan State linebacker.
That time, interesting call by Michigan State, spying Adams. Nowhere for him to go. They used Reschke, the linebacker, to stay with him and keep him kind of in his sights, but great coverage downfield. Nowhere to go with the ball. He just took a chance and threw it into coverage. He was fortunate it wasn't intercepted.
And Nelson thought he had a shot at the deflection. And another opportunity. Adams steps up, avoids one-on-one coverage in the back, and it's Marshall for the touchdown. This is not terribly important at this moment, but that is a new NCAA record. 70 consecutive games with a touchdown pass for the Ducks.
Watch this. Both guys kind of pushing back and forth. Good no call. Marshall goes up and makes the play. Puts it up in the air. I'll tell you, one of the toughest things when you're a young quarterback in a new system, he's played some football, but in a different school, is the red zone. This red zone usually is attacking for Oregon. Right now, it's almost like they're just trying to feel what might work, and they just kind of threw that up and hoped that Marshall would make a play on it, and he did.
The extra point, very important. It makes it a 3-point game, 3:25 to go. Ducks have all 3 timeouts. So they've got plenty of time. So with 3:25 to go here. Normal return unit on. Plenty of time to play defense, and while there have been moments when Michigan State has struck quickly, there have been other ones tonight when the Oregon defense has done a good job.
Again, you would think conventional wisdom would be Michigan State's going to run the football and work clock. And that's why those 3 timeouts for Oregon are so big.
And they do kick it away. Shelton's going to bring it out. R.J. Shelton knocked down to about the 23-yard line, and that's where the Spartans will put it in play with 3:19 left.
Something to remember, again, the coaches from Michigan State openly admitting that they regretted last year in their trip to Eugene when the game got close in the second half. They felt they got a bit too conservative. Let's keep that in mind to see if they go the conservative route here or they take a chance.
On the ground with London, and London is knocked down in the backfield. Christian Frentz and Joe Walker was back there. Stay tuned for the Ford wrap-up after the game with Cassidy Hubbard. And it's coming your way as soon as we finish here in East Lansing.
Christian French that time, and his Oregon defense, ears are pinned. Don Pelham has told his team, guys, we're going to go in here at this point, and we're anticipating run, and we're attacking the line of scrimmage with our outside linebackers and our linebackers downhill. And if you're Michigan State, you're working that play clock as much as you can.
Cook is going to try to take care of it, you would think, but whizzed it out of bounds looking for King. So now it's 3rd and 15, and Oregon didn't have to use a timeout.
That's right. So the loss on 1st and 10 sits them back where it's 2nd and 15. Mark D'Antonio and offensive coordinator Dave Warner decide to trust the quarterback, throw the football. And as you said, it's an incompletion. So now it's 3rd and 15. You don't have to burn a timeout if you're Oregon. And now you're Michigan State. You're thinking, do we just run a draw here? Do you run the football to keep the clock going and use it at least to maybe use 1 timeout here?
What would you do?
I would try to work the clock. I mean, I know you got a quarterback that's effective, but I would probably run the draw or the screen.
Instead, they're going to let Cook throw it. He went down the middle. He overshot Burbridge, and Oregon, that's as good a scenario as they could have ever hoped for. There's 2:27 left. They didn't burn a single timeout.
Now you're not thinking, hey, let's get into field goal range. Now you're thinking 2:27 with the way the offense executed on that last drive with 3 timeouts. That is going to be plenty of time for Vernon Adams to be put in this first time ever as a situation as an Oregon quarterback to have to come back and win the game on the last drive.
We've talked several times tonight about the Ducks having the opportunity to learn to trust Adams. You think they'll trust him if he can lead them to a score here? Hartbarger gets the punt away, and Michigan State better cover this punt carefully because Addison's been dynamite tonight. Braylon Addison to the 50s into Michigan State territory, and the Ducks have terrific field position. The crowd wanted to block in the back, but I tell you, I thought it was a bit of an acting job. I thought a good no call by the group. Nelson in motion. Ducks have time to keep it on the ground. They've got Royce Freeman inside the 40-yard line, and Oregon with a big pickup on their first play and picking up a first down as we go to the 2-minute mark.
Yeah, they're not in quite the kind of fastball tempo you'd expect. That was outstanding patience there by Royce Freeman on that outside zone.
Freeman trying the middle. Picks up about 3. Royce Freeman's going to be up around 90 yards.
And again, you don't feel at this point Mark Helfrich telling Vernon Adams, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. You know, again, it's not the tempo that you're accustomed. It's fast, but it's not as fast as it can be.
90 seconds left in the game. Adams taking a shot. Marshall's out there. He was by himself, and if Adams could have put it on him, the Ducks would have had the lead.
If R.J. Ryan Colhoun, who's a senior, out there by himself. This is Michigan State's defense. There's no safeties behind him. He stumbles, loses balance. Look at that. He's all alone. Byron Marshall had 5, maybe 8 yards of separation because Colhoun lost his footing, and Marshall pulled away. One-on-one coverage again.
3rd down and 7. Spartans bringing pressure from the outside. Adams in trouble. Adams tries to get away, and he does not. A sack. Lawrence Thomas was back there, and Chris Fry finished him off. Fry's made some big plays tonight. None bigger than that one.
Boy, that was a gutsy call by Harlan Barnett and Mike Tressel, the co-defensive coordinators. I'm sure Mark D'Antonio has something to say about that, too. Boy, they brought pressure. They showed pressure over here. I'll show you right here. They show it, but it drops, and then it comes from here, and even a corner brought the pressure as well. So confusing. The Oregon offensive line, he had open people. If he would have been able to just sit in there and just get rid of the ball as quickly as he can, or if he could have been able to get away and buy a little bit of time, he had some open receivers. But Michigan State lives on the edge themselves and how they coach defensively, and they brought the house.
4th sack of the night, leaving Oregon with a 4th and 16. That's Byron Marshall down there. Those two hooked up to convert a big 4th down earlier in the second half. They kept the touchdown drive alive. 4th and 16. Adams stepping up. Adams firing. Short hops it incomplete. Spartans take over. Le'Veon Bell and the rest of the Spartan faithful delighted with another defensive stand.
Just an outstanding job by the Michigan State defense in these last 2 plays. They brought pressure on the previous play, and this time they rushed 3 and they dropped 8. They played man underneath, and they dropped safeties so he couldn't just throw up one of those one-on-one, just kind of jump balls. They took everything away down the field. He scrambled to try to create something. But the Michigan State coverage, before it was the pressure on 3rd down, and it's the coverage there on 4th down.
But everything's still out in front of the Ducks. You go out, take care of business in the Pac-12, and I agree with you 100%. A 3-point loss to this team in this stadium, this team, which I believe is really the only legitimate threat to Ohio State in the Big Ten right now. That's nothing at all to be a black mark on your resume.
Would you rather have played a couple FCS teams and blown them out by 40 or 50, or lose a game like this? I'm more impressed by losing a game like this.
And for some of these Spartans who agonized over that loss a year ago in Eugene when they let a second-half lead get away, a little bit of a cathartic feeling as the clock strikes 0. Mark D'Antonio, Mark Helfrich meeting at midfield after a terrific and entertaining football game that Michigan State pulls out 31-28. D'Antonio knows exactly who's beat him, and now he's avenged one of those recent losses. He's with Heather Cox.
Reese, thank you so much. Coach, your team motto this year, reach higher. How did they show you that they have bought in tonight?
Well, we just kept playing, you know. I mean, great drive by our offense there, a little, you know, in the 3rd quarter, I guess, 4th quarter. But, you know, defensively just kept playing. Things happen, you know. I mean, it's a crazy game. I mean, Oregon's got a great football team, but hey, we rose up a little bit.
You talk about that defense, impressive all night, but no more impressive than they were on that 4th and 16 and that final Oregon drive. How did you neutralize Oregon's offense?
Neutralize them? We just kept playing, you know. Vernon Adams, everything they say, you know, can really move around. Great receivers that make clutch plays down there. But our guys kept playing. Very, very proud of our football team and how they responded. Energy on the sideline. Awesome crowd. Awesome crowd. Come to Michigan State.
Very impressive, Coach, especially considering all week we've talked so much about the revenge and letting it slip away last year in Oregon. What did your team team's identity proved tonight?
Well, like I said at halftime, we're just going to finish. They really didn't have anything to do with last year. I mean, we got great respect for Oregon and what they're all about, Coach Helfrich and their football team. But we just wanted to play hard and finish, and that's the bottom line. Just finish.
Indeed, you did. Big win, Coach. Congrats.
Green guys.
31-28, Michigan State beats Oregon tonight in this Big Ten Pac-12 showdown. Vernon Adams and the Ducks fought valiantly, came up 3 points short. 31-28 the final.